Hello, Msouls up here. If you need 12 minutes to have some time for yourself, to rest, to meditate, to relax, or to get a particular, very specific goal completed, this is the timer for you. And if you just want to meditate a little, you can just watch some hot air balloons take to the skies here with me. I chose hot air balloons for 12 minutes because I feel like 12 is an even number, and hot air balloons are something you should do with someone else. So why not? It's a romantic trip for two, or a peaceful place for one. Let's do this, everybody. Your 12-minute timer starts now.
Up we go. Now take a deep breath and relax. As your host for this 12-minute balloon ride, I'd like to tell you the first hot air balloon passengers were a rooster, a duck, and a sheep. No joke. The sheep, being the land animal, was considered the best representative of effects of high flying on a human. The rooster and the duck, who can both fly at certain altitudes, but had limited altitudes, were sent out as a type of control for the test. This happened in 1783, and they were sent to fly over the heads of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette in Versailles to test the effects of flight. The balloon was tethered for an 8-minute flight, rising 1,500 feet into the air and traveling 2 miles before being brought down safely to the ground. The animals were reportedly unharmed. Since this first hot air balloon test run with the rooster, the duck, and the sheep were a success, prisoners began being used as the first human test pilots. Of course, the very first test pilot didn't have a very successful run. But once the techniques were learned, it became very fashionable for the French aristocracy to take hot air balloon rides all around their neighborhoods. However, they found out very quickly farmers didn't like the rich people landing on their farms, as it would often crush their crops on touchdown. So it became a tradition in France to serve champagne to anyone present whenever a hot air balloon touched down, someplace, as a form of appeasement. Well, the French certainly loved their hot air balloons. And speaking of love, that reminds me of Paris. In the city of love, there was once a hot air balloon duel in 1808 between 2 Frenchmen caught in a love triangle with the Mademoiselle Thierry, a famous opera dancer. These 2 men rose into the skies in their individual hot air balloons to duel it out over the city of Paris. The crowds gathered below thinking that they were going to see an impromptu balloon race. That is, until they started hearing some loud noise. You see, the 2 men brought their balloons into the sky, not for a race, but a good old-fashioned duel. and they brought out their guns and they started shooting at each other's balloons. The crowd continued to gather and watch. 2 shots were reportedly fired. 1 balloon went down, crashing into buildings, unfortunately killing the occupants. The survivor, however, landed safely and is said to have wed this lady. Some would say that since the times of the hot air balloon rides in Versailles, that talk of dragons in the sky was related to seeing the dark smokes that would come out of these hot air balloons as they traveled through the skies. And so some would say that whenever there was a hot air balloon, it must be a dragon, and they were afraid of them touching down in their neighborhoods. Well, this idea of the smoky dragon in the sky was turned into a type of carnival delight, and there used to be smoke bomb, hot air balloon, daredevil activities, where a man would be tethered to one of the hot air balloons with a parachute on his back, and this daredevil would wait as the hot air balloon was kept over the types of fires and gases that would fill it up enough to send it up into the sky. Once the balloon reached a height that was considered about its maximum ability before it started to descend, the daredevil would then detach himself from this hot air balloon, pulling on his ripcord to pop his parachute, and to the delight of the crowds below, hopefully land safely back to the carnival grounds. Hot air balloons were also unfortunately folded into the history of war, often used for reconnaissance missions or spy games. But I'd like to keep this positive, so I'll just let you research that part on your own if you're more interested. In 2010, a man named Christian Brown debuted his glass bottom hot air balloon at the Bristol International Balloon Fiesta. He was quoted as telling the British impressed that the flight was absolutely terrifying. Imagine that being that high in the sky. I mean, I've walked the glass floor in the CN Tower over Toronto. That was good enough for me. But he was actually doing many test flights, and in these trial flights, he said that they were continuously ended with passengers shrieking and screaming in fear. Despite this less than stellar review from the test public, it seems that Christian Brown may still yet open his glass-bottom balloon to the public. Would you want to take a ride? What do you think, my adventurous mortal souls? Have you ever been in a hot air balloon? Would you want to pilot one? Who would you take with you? And where would you like to hover over? The skies of Toronto, Paris, Rome, Prague, London, Japan? I don't even know where I would go. Do you have a favorite place in mind? The Grand Canyon? Chichen Itza? Over the Great Wall? Pyramids? I would like to think it would be relaxing if the weather was cooperative. And I hope that if you get to do it, it's a peaceful thing for you to do. We're touching down now, everybody.
Time! That's it, Msoul. It's 12 minutes. So whatever you were doing to refresh yourself or accomplish or rest, I'm glad you had the time to do it. Keep taking care of yourself. And don't forget, I have other timers in my playlist. If you'd like to have a version that is not white noise but has some music, or me chatting with some fun facts about hot air balloons over the wind, just leave me a comment and I will get one made for you and I'll put it in the playlist. All right, have a wonderful day. I hope you feel rested.